Welcome to My on Mondays, an explorative approach to the possessive my through narratives, art, and sound. Each Monday brings a new creation and unique perspective. My on Mondays is brought to you by MING Studios, a contemporary art space and international artist residency program dedicated to the exhibition, experience, and exploration of arts and culture. Along with exhibiting artists from around the world, MING also serves the community by hosting innovative programs including performances, workshops, screenings, readings, artist talks, and other cultural activities. For more information, or if you'd like to participate in My on Mondays, you can visit our website at mingstudios.org. Hello and welcome to the 32nd episode of My on Mondays. Today I'm sharing with you the first in a series of 3 interviews titled My Sevillanos, recorded on a recent trip to Seville, Spain, which was once my home. This first episode with blacksmith and metal artist Alex Richter kicks off our series of My on Mondays artist interviews. Born in Germany, Alex has lived in Seville for over 30 years. In his time there, he's developed his own unique style in metalwork, and his creations include stylistic and functional additions to local architecture, as well as sculptural works. In our conversation, we discuss both his work as an artist, as well as his wider engagement with the local community. So I'm here today with Alex Richter, and thank you so much for joining me and agreeing to participate. I've known you for, I think...
Must be over 20 years.
No, it can't be that long.
No.
Maybe 15,
15
somewhere around there. And as long as I've known you, you have been able to sustain yourself and your family with only this work.
Yeah, more or less, yes.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
So what are the typical types of jobs that you do that actually pay? What's a typical commission for you?
So most kind of work I do is proper design work, you know, interior or external design for houses, architects who make houses, you know.
So sort of like decorative, not structural.
Both things. I put together both things. It must be practical, but with proper design, you know?
Okay, yeah.
No, because only design, I cannot sell it, no?
Yeah.
I have to make it too, no? So I make all the work. I design it, I make it, and I put it in the place.
And it has your own, everything has your own style to it.
Yes.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since 32 years, more or less. Now I have 51.
Did you start in Germany, or was it?
I started in Germany. Yeah.
Okay.
I started in Germany, to learn welding and metal work. But when I had 20 years, so I went from Germany because I didn't want to make the military service. Mm-hmm. So they searched for me, and so I had to get out in Germany, and so I came here.
You came to Spain?
To Spain.
Why Spain in particular?
Because I knew some people in the north of Spain.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a big movement here from people who didn't want to make military service.
Yeah.
And so I came here, to prove it. I didn't know the language, and so I had to start from the beginning.
Wow. So you learned this in a trade school, or what? Did you apprentice?
No, it was I searched places in different towns of Germany. So I went from the south to the north, in Hamburg and Berlin and so on. And there were some working places, repairing cars too, or motors and so on. And so I worked over there and learning by doing.
Oh wow, fantastic. So bit by bit you sort of it was a self-education.
Yeah, when I came here, there were no work, no? And all the time there were no work here in Seville. It's very tough because all the time we had something like 30% of unemployment rate.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot. And so when I came here, it was very tough because there was no work. I didn't know the language, you know. But I started welding some things that people, they didn't know it here. And so there were some bars, new bars, and so on. And so they bought me things.
Okay.
And so I thought this is maybe this can be my work for sustain myself here in Seville.
Fantastic. So we're standing here as we do this interview. I'm here in your studio, and I look around and I see there's, you know, sort of functional things. You know, I know you've done fences and things. I've seen you have more sculptural work. What do you enjoy doing the most? What are the types of things that you enjoy building?
I enjoy building the sculptures that I make, no, of course. But every work I have, it's a new world, you know, a new book you open. No? So when they want a fence, for example, so I have a view of the house. How is it? The style it's built, and so on. And then I make some designs over this, and so little by little, I'm working the design, and so it's getting the whole work at last. You know, and this is very good because people normally they give me the liberty to make what I like, more or less. I make some drawings first, but then there is a development, no, in the work that it's going for free. That's going
like it starts
solo.
to take on its own life. Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the time, and this is what I like, not to see the progress.
So I'm actually curious about the actual process of metalwork or blacksmithing, and I don't see wood stacked anywhere, so you're not using wood. What are the actual materials that you use in the process of the actual work? Is it gas? Is it coal?
No, it's coal. It's coal. Yeah.
Okay.
It's coal from the mines in the north of Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's difficult to get good coal, because now all the mines are closed in Europe.
Yeah.
And so there's some Colombian and some Australian coal, but it's very bad because it has a lot of sulfur, and so it's going quite difficult now to get a good coal.
Yeah, it's interesting because we you know, in the States, and I'm sure here too, we've started to think of coal as evil because of climate change and everything.
Yeah.
But then you don't think of all the little things that we might need it for that are really pleasureful, because this is artwork, you know.
You're asking for the sustainability of coal working.
Yeah, because there's so much argument about why we need to shut down the coal mines, and we don't think about, we just think about big evil coal companies that are destroying the planet, and then so for you, as you look to the future and coal, the accessibility of coal becomes less and less, how do you think you will adapt to that?
There are some other materials you can use. Not only coal from the mines, you can use vegetal coal, for example. All the time here in Spain, blacksmith worked with these kind of materials, on the top of the trees, with
the branches
a lot of
and the
resin,
leaves? Oh, the sap.
Yeah,
okay.
Must be.
Okay.
And so all the time here in Spain, the blacksmith worked with these materials because the coal was very expensive.
Okay.
Here, all the people, they were poor.
Yeah.
They had to use what they had. and it was this. And then there is a blacksmith. Today they're working a lot with gas oven, but when you make sculpture things, it doesn't work because you need more place.
Yeah, to heat the entire
to
piece.
Heat.
Okay. So while we're on the topic of sustainability, and just for the sheer creativity of it, I was looking through your Instagram and I noticed that one piece that you were working on, I can't remember what it was, but you were using recycled metal from cars.
Some things I do, like the big fish there. This is I do it from scrap.
Yeah.
No? But this is the design the people wanted that I made it for. Steampunk design.
Okay.
So
it's a way of. I mean, you must walk around sort of looking at things with an eye for, I could use this for that, and I could use.
Yes, of course. Huh?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Normally, in the normal things I do with fans and so on. So this is all new metal, you know. But then when I have to make some sculpture things, I use recycled things. Yes.
Yeah. So this is. It's a physically demanding work. It's not an art form that you see a lot of people doing. What attracted you to it in the first place? Was it something that you'd always sort of had an eye for?
Yeah, I always like to work with metal, welding and so on. I always was interested in this. And then when I had the opportunity to make it, so I catched always the opportunities, and so I worked further.
I imagine then, as you said earlier, it was sort of you developed your skill bit by bit, and so I imagine the idea of the direction you were going to go into changed with time and developed with time.
Yes, of course, because in the beginning I didn't have children. I was for my own, and so it's much more easier to take a different way of life.
Yeah.
When they came the children, so I had to be more serious.
Yeah.
And all these things,
Yeah.
And so when you have to earn money with a work that you don't know at last of the month how much money you can earn, so it's always difficult, It's precarious.
Yeah.
But I do it 30 years, so now I have a big skin.
Thick skin.
A thick skin.
Yeah. And you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm privileged because I'm working what I like, more or less.
Yeah.
And I can survive with this.
And you really, I don't want to say a following or audience, that's not the correct word, but your work is known around town. I remember I was walking in the center years ago when we still lived here, and I saw you doing some work at the cathedral, which is a major monument here in Seville. So
make some restoration work too. The thing is that here I don't have competition. I don't have competition because there's nobody who makes these kinds of works. There are working places with metal workers, but they only do fences or windows or doors.
It's very specialized.
And you cannot go there and say, I like to have something like this, and they don't do it.
They don't have the artistic element or
and
the flexibility.
they don't have the time to make these things.
Yeah.
They always have to do the same thing,
Yeah.
to make it profitable.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that in here that has really caught my eye, besides the sculptures themselves, is you've been making knives, like different sorts of knives. You've got daggers, you've got cleavers, you've got knives that I don't even know what they're called. They, some of them look like they might be historical reproductions. Am I correct about that?
Yes, I make some historical reproductions.
Okay, and is this something that you're doing for yourself, or is it contracted work?
It's so. I make, for example, I have a reproduction, archaeological reproduction of two birds. They're near from my hometown, from a century before Christ. And so I make a reproduction. It was a place. It was a place near a lake, and the people were living there.
Okay, I think I understand now. So you're making a reproduction of a historical depiction.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's it.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me again.
And with the knives, I make some knives for myself many years ago now, and then like 10 years ago, something like this, everybody wanted to have the mass steel. No? It's like in the kitchen when you do hojaldre.
That puff pastry.
Puff pastry.
Puff pastry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this, but you make it with different kind of steels.
Okay.
And so you redouble it until you have 200 layers, for example.
Wow.
The different kind of steels. And so later you see a drawing on the top of the knife. No?
It creates a swirly
you
design
some
in the metal.
Drawings, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
So I started to make it another time because I learned it 20 years ago or 25 years ago more.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted these things, And in the last years, there are coming a lot of people asking for a blacksmith, or I give classes too. They're coming to the classes.
Yeah.
It changed a lot in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Because 15 years ago, nobody knew what is blacksmith work. Now here in Seville, everything what was metal and painted in black, so they put blacksmith, but it didn't have to do nothing with blacksmithing. Now there are coming a lot of people for the films, like the Viking films,
because they
the
see
Hobbit
that
films,
and then they're interested
all
in,
these films, fantastic films too. There are blacksmiths, and so an archaic lifestyle. I don't know. No?
Yeah.
A lot of testosterone. And there are a lot of people who like this.
Yeah.
No?
It
like
appeals.
We're living in unsecure times. People need something to hold on. Some people have religion. Other people have esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
Other people need. In ancient time, all were better than now.
Yeah.
These it's rubbish, but there are a lot of people who feel like this.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's kind of a way of thinking. Well, if I know how, because nowadays so many people don't know how to do things. They don't know how to build their own house. They don't know how to find plant medicine that can help them. They don't know how to, fix their own appliances. And so maybe this is kind of a way of saying, I know how to do this. If this breaks, I can fix it. And then maybe somebody else will know how to, cook dinner or something.
Sure,
garden or gardening. I mean, I imagine the huerto, the community garden, is sort of like that too. One of the ways that I met you, besides our children going to school together, was because you were one of the founders of the community garden here in Seville, El Huerto de Rey Moro. And can you tell us a little bit about the process of how that began? Now, in these days, we will have anniversario, the anniversary, the 18th anniversary of this place. And so we started in this time 18 years ago with the project of the garden, but there was another one too. There were a school, a primary school,
It's cool, and we occupied it because they wanted to do another thing with this, and so the parents we joined together to occupy this place to make it become a school and other and so there were a lot of mobility. The people the mothers and the fathers, no, we joined together in a big group, and so there are a lot of power in this group, no, and so we noticed that there is a place where the garden is, and it was abandoned 20 years ago or something like this. There were only scrap inside, and so we decided, more or less the same group of mother and father, that we can occupy this place too. And so we did it.
Yeah.
And it was a time with a lot of power, empowered people. You know?
So you occupied the spaces for both the school and the garden, and I think in English we would would be called squatting, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, but it was a definite focused action to
it was a political
occupy
action.
to occupy these spaces that were abandoned, that weren't in use by anyone, and until the local government agreed to give you the space to use for school and a community garden, which are now incredible.
Yeah, the school worked like this. Now we did some classes, the mothers and fathers during 3 months, and then there were some politicians in the mothers and fathers who occupied this place, and so it becomes a legal school. Half a year later. In the garden is another thing. We're still occupying this place.
Okay.
They wanted to throw us out sometimes, and so we talked with the government, and but in this we're talking together, and they don't have money, they don't know what to do there, and so we use it.
Yeah. It's fantastic, and it's a beautiful space, and I mean, I'm just really. We moved away 10 or 11 years ago, and it was beautiful back then, but now just with the trees that have grown in and everything, and I never saw it before it was the garden, so I can't even imagine what it looked like before, full of garbage, but it's a beautiful space now. Do you do all kinds of activities there? You have film?
Yeah,
we have film students, right, that come and put on...
in summertime, the 3 months of summertime, we have films projection. 2 times a week.
Yeah.
And these are organized from the students, the audiovisual students.
Yeah.
And they make it very good.
Yeah.
And so we have some charlas.
Talks.
Some talks with political background and so on. And then working shops too. There's some working shops. There are mothers and fathers in the morning using the place with the children.
So it's become, I mean, the great thing about this garden, I think, which is something that I haven't seen, for example, in the community gardens that I've seen where I live now, where it's become a space where you're engaging with the community in a multitude of ways. You're bringing in the film students, you're bringing in, where you have these talks on all these different subjects. So you're engaging in many different avenues of various aspects of the community, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, for me, the garden project is more a political project, because there are people, any kind of people who are coming together, and we are organized in assembly.
Yeah.
So the last Sunday of the month we have assembly, and all the things we discuss is over there. And so for me, this is the best way to construct ciudadanía, citizenship, because you have to argue with arguments. no? And then you have to talk to the others and so on. This is a whole political process, no basic democracy project. And this is what most that I like in this place.
Yeah.
No? It's very beautiful, so on. But most important, I think, more interesting is the way people act and argue, and groups that are coming up and down, and the change. You know.
Yet another way of engaging with the community. So I guess my last questions have to do with your students. You mentioned earlier that you have students. What kinds of courses are you offering right now? Do you do private apprenticeships, or do you do group courses? How does that function?
So I like to make group courses, but it's not possible. There's no infrastructure for this, you know. So I give private courses because I cannot in the other way. But for one person or two person, no, I cannot make courses for more people. No, and then I have always apprentice.
Yeah.
No, who's learning here. No?
Okay, so that's more of a long-term.
Yeah, this is long time.
Okay.
I had here in the last years. I had here 20 years old punk, and very bad because I had a lot of problems, you know. So I said, come here and you learn this. And he learned here 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And now he's working in Malaga in a welding company, and everything is very, very good. No?
Yeah.
Now that he has some stability in his life.
Wow. Fantastic.
And this is for me the best regard. No?
Yeah. Reward.
Reward.
Yeah.
Yes, reward.
Yeah.
No? And now I have a woman, 30 years old, and she's learning here too.
Yeah.
No? So every time I have one person that I can spend my time to, that they are learning, no? And then other people coming to courses at last 6 hours, the basic course, and then you know more or less how does the black work works. Then if they want to make more, then when they want to spend more time, there's no problem. They can come here more times, more hours, and so on.
Yeah. There was one other question that I had forgotten about. When I first came to Spain, I was actually living right up there. So this, where we are right now, is it's a large space that has a lot of different workshops of all different sorts of artists and artisans. Can you talk a little bit about the space itself? The different, what are the different types of people that are here working?
Yeah, here in this the big working places here in Seville, they were, because now they're only free. I think they're only are free now, but there were a lot because everybody worked in these working places.
Yeah.
It's a big area with little like garages, you know, and everybody works therefore. And so these working places, 15, 20 years ago, it was all still industrial stuff, you know, like black work, wooden stuff, and so on. But it's changed a lot now because Sevilla with the tourism, no? So it's changed to make not working places but co-working places, for example, no? For the internet stuff, no?
Oh, for digital nomads
and so on.
Yeah.
No? And then there are a lot of people who work with tourists to cook with them, to make what they want. So it's changed a lot, no?
That's changed even just since I was here. Yeah.
In Irish?
Since I was here, living here.
Yeah, lots.
There wasn't anything like
the
that.
tourism destroyed a lot of things here. No?
Yeah.
The people from here, they cannot afford what you have to pay for a working place now here in the center.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's been a pleasure, and of course, it's just a nice. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Monday.